It is time to do our reading wrap up. Every month I come in and I let you know about all the books that I read in the past month, give you some spoiler-free reviews, letting you know if I like them or not, if I recommend them or not. I will link all these books down below in case you were like, what was that book? Who wrote it? Where can I find it? I will put everything in the description box. And in the description box, you'll be able to see my Instagram, my Goodreads, and all of that as well, in case you want to follow me on other places too. And my main channel, of course, which is a makeup channel, which is one of the reasons, of course, why I'm having great makeup on today, because my husband is taking me on a surprise date. We're doing like a date stay over somewhere. I don't know. He planned a surprise staycation for me. I say staycation, but I don't know where we're going. He's like, be ready at noon. Yes, boss. Anyways, all the information is going to be in the description box, together with my group trip that we're doing this spring. There are still spots left if you want to go to Barcelona with me and a bunch of other fun people. If you're into like group traveling, that information is also in the description box. But I read 7 books in January, which is, I think, the least amount of books I've ever read in a month since I started doing more like booktube content. Honestly, January was very busy for me. We were traveling back from Sweden. We had a delay for 4 days in Schiphol. I did just recently have a vlog about that. And even though I was able to read some books while I was in Schiphol, for sure, when I got back, I was behind on work. I had a launch with my own brand, Singe Beauty. And we have a lot of things going on right now behind the scenes that I'm not able to talk about yet. And I just didn't have enough time to read once I got back. I had friends visiting. It is what it is. Here's the thing. Reading is my hobby. I'm never gonna force myself to read if I don't have the time and don't have the energy for it. I will say, for calming myself down in January, I was playing League of Legends instead. Did make platinum kind of quickly this season. I don't put in enough effort to go beyond platinum, and I also kind of like it in platinum. You know, people are talented but still nice about it, which it's my preferred way of playing League of Legends. But I read 7 different books and I read 2,720 pages, which isn't a lot of pages. Like I said, January was kind of a slow month, and I do think the February is shaping up to be somewhat similar. March, I will catch up in March. I give an average reading of 4.0 because I gave every book this month a 4-star rating. We'll talk about that in a bit. I read 4 books on my TBR, which means that there was 1 book that I picked that I actually didn't read, and I'll talk about that as well. And then I read 3 just mood read books on my non-TBR. I read 5 physical books, and I read 2 books that were Kindle or audio, and I'll talk about that a bit as well. Let's just quickly go into like the ratings, because yeah, I ranked all 7 books a 4-star. This statistics that I'm showing you is literally showing you nothing, and I was giggling because I'm like, I'm still gonna do this one because it's so much fun. But yes, I gave all 7 books a 4-star. Some of them I give a 4.5 star though, technically, but my statistics doesn't have anything for that, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. And then the genres that I read 1 cowboy romance, 1 paranormal romance, 1 sci-fi, and 4 contemporary romance. This is also the first month since I started doing these that I did not read a single fantasy, and I honestly think it is because I just had a month that I just had too many things going on. I needed like easy breezy reads, and that's what I did. I am actually technically listening to a fantasy as well, because I'm listening to the last part of The Plated Prisoner, but I did not finish that one, and maybe I'll finish it in February. Who knows? I might finish it in February. I also did already do my TBR jar picks, my books for February. So if you want to check that out, that video is already live. And the book on my TBR for this month that I didn't read was the 5th book in the Zodiac Academy. It was just too long. I didn't get to it. So instead I read the other 4 books because I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep this one to later. I was going to say admit defeat, but it's not. I just did not have time to read as much in January. And again, this is a hobby of mine. I want to like it. I want to have a good time. So let me double check which books I gave a 4.5 so I'm not like misspeaking. Let's actually, okay, I also have a project in 2026 where I want to finish 10 series that I have started. I want to finish them in 2026. And one of the series that I'm finishing up is, of course, the Plated Prisoner series. Like I said, I'm listening to it. So maybe that could be the series that I'm finishing up in February. But I also did finish up, and I have one of the books here. and it is Bourbon and Secrets by Victoria Wilder. So this book I read when I was traveling, and then I liked it so much. I gave this one a 4.5 stars, and I liked this one so much that I ended up reading the third one. This is available on Kindle Unlimited, which is Bourbon and Proof, which is the third and final one in the series. So I finished up the series, and I read that on Kindle Unlimited, and I also gave that one a 4.5 stars. This is something that I really enjoy, which is contemporary romance in a small town, and it is around a bourbon distillery and three brothers living there, and of course the women that they meet. But it also has a little bit of a crime and mystery solving thing in the background, which I really enjoy, because not only is it about the small town romance and about the bourbon distillery, and there's a little bit of like a semi-ranching thing going on. It's not cowboy romance, but it also has this really, again, nice subplot with the last one, Bourbon and Proof, is about the bad boy brother that is definitely skirting the law in a lot of ways. And it is a very successful mix with dark romance, but actually the guy isn't a bad guy, but he's just maybe not following the law in all the best ways. So Bourbon and Proof, the last one, not this one. This one is more about the, I don't want to say, it's the single dad who meets the, she is a burlesque dancer, and she is escaping a bad past. She's escaping a bad past, and she's working with the FBI, and she comes back to her small town, which she has promised to never come back to, and there is a crime underlying, and there's like a little bit of a mob like mentality thing going on with a couple of the families in here, and it is just very intriguing. And in the last book, it is like there's a couple of tropes in the last book, Bourbon and Proof. It is, again, very much a dark romance. It is the darkest of the three. It is a little bit of an age gap, and it is like it's like his brother's best friend. And it also is the girl he cannot have. And I will say, I think Bourbon and Proof, the last book, it's probably the first like really successful dark romance book that I've read. So if you are looking for contemporary romance with a little bit of like mystery, like crime solving, dark-esque things going on with around, again, a bourbon distillery, I just felt like it was a refreshing take on contemporary romance, and I really liked all three of the books. I liked the two last books even more, the third one being my absolute favorite. I think the only reason why I didn't give it a 5-star is because there is a little bit of a tangent thrown in at the end where I'm like, oh, we didn't need this in the book for it to be a good book. Some people might disagree, but that's just how I felt, and when you read it you might know why. But I thought Bourbon and Proof was like a really good book. I recommend this series definitely if you're looking into reading a little bit of a different take on contemporary romance. The paranormal romance I read, which was the book that was on my TBR, is Mate by Ali Hazelwood. I always find it so hard sometimes to know how to say A, because we don't say A like that in my native tongue, which is Swedish. So this is the second book after Bride, and I gave this one a 4-star. I gave Bride a 4-star too. This one is very much paranormal romance meets rom-com, because it's got a lot of like that banter, humoristic back and forth, which I feel really I really like the plot of this book. There is a smart plot going on, but a couple of things I feel like is glossed over a little bit, and I think that sometimes there's too many characters in here. There's too many characters for it to be this many pages, and I feel like sometimes they just mention names where I'm just like, who is this? And I think if you want to have this many characters, I think you need to write more book like pages, because there was definitely a couple of times where I was like, who? Because there's just too many characters being like introduced. Did like the plot, did like the characters. It's not a perfect book, because there are some things where I'm like, really? But I did enjoy it a lot. I gave it a 4-star. I thought it was a good book. It was just not a great book. Then I also read Revelry. This is the second book by Lala Dawes, and this is in the series Cowgirls Do It Better, which is funny because this is not a cowgirl. This is, again, also both this book and the first book in the series, which was called I don't remember, but I gave the first book a 5-star. This one I gave a 4-star, and I think I gave the first book a 5-star because I could relate to that book. And this book, I still think it's good, but other people will be able to relate to this. And I feel like Lila Dawes is this the most amazingly written book you'll ever read? Probably not, but I think she handles a lot of important issues in a way and binds them into a book to just make sense, and I think it's very well made in that regards. This is a woman who escapes her ex-husband who has been physically abusing her. She comes back to her hometown to live with her mom, who also got divorced because of physical abuse. So she feels very guilty that she fell into this trap that her mom also fell into. And she's like, I learned nothing, basically. Her neighbor that she knew from she was younger was a kid that she understood at the time was dealing with trauma, but she didn't fully understand. But he was taking care of his mentally ill mom that was pretty abusive. And since then, he is dealing with OCD. So this one is definitely a book that has a lot of OCD representation, and basically it's about overcoming, and it is about deserving to be loved regardless of what you're dealing with. And she comes back to this town and she starts working on the ranch where he is a veterinarian, and it's just a very nice book that deals with a lot of things without, like, you know, they're not waving a magic wand around, which is what happens in the first book too. They're not waving a magic wand around and everything gets solved. It's about dealing with what you have and learning to live with it and managing your life with these difficulties, not just waving a wand and making them go away, which is what I really appreciate about this book. So I really liked it. I gave it a 4-star. The next contemporary romance I read, and I really, really, really enjoyed this one, and I gave this one a 4.5 star. I thought the only thing that gave this a 4.5 and not a 5-star is that this is a office rivals to lovers. I think the author is South Asian, and I'm pretty sure the main female is South Asian as well. She is describing herself as a brown woman in STEM, and she is missing a promotion because the boss's son gets it instead. Nepo baby. And there's a rivalry between the two, and they are both sent to this almost like a, let's say, conference for the sake of the argument. And a lot of things are coming to the surface, and she is fighting for another position in a training program, and she's just so sure she's not gonna get it because she's been passed over so many times because of her being a female and being a brown female, and it's just, you know, the glass ceiling and all of those things. The only reason why I gave this a 4.5 and not a 5-star is because when he shows his true colors, I think the switches to like 360, which I was like, okay, maybe tone this down a little bit. But honestly, I really did enjoy this book. It is definitely a book to swoon over. It is definitely a book that makes you feel all the feels. And I really enjoyed the inner monologue that the character had, and I really liked the way the author clearly took from her own life experiences and put into this book about the difficulties of being not only a woman but also a woman of minority. And I thought the book was great. And if you're looking for a contemporary romance that has just representation, definitely I think this one was a great book. I've read a fantasy series by Nisha G. Tooley, which I gave a 3-star all around, and this one is this is where she truly shines. This was an amazing book. I truly, truly loved it, and I will definitely read more by this author. Next book I read was on my TBR, and this is Duke by Jessica Peterson. This is the 4th book in the, I think it's called Lucky River Ranch. Yeah, it's Cash, Wyatt, Sawyer, Duke, and the last one is going to be, I think it's Ryder, and it's coming out this spring. So I'm going to read that too, and I'm going to finish another series. This is the special edition one that has the sprayed edges. I love this. If you have been reading Lila Sage and you've been reading, what's that other girl's name that writes cowboy romance? Elsie Silver. If you've been reading those and you want more cowboy romance, definitely pick up this series by Jessica Peterson. I've really been enjoying all of the books. The only one that I gave a 3-star instead of a 4-star was the one that was about 2 single parents, but it's again probably because I don't have kids. I don't want to have kids, and I think that one was leaning in a little bit too heavy on being parents, but I still enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed Duke though, and I am gonna say it right now, there is an accidental pregnancy in this one, but I actually really enjoyed how they talked about it in this book. So this is about the fourth son, and he is a twin. So this is one of the twins, and it is the girl from the first book. It's her best friend that she's running a company with. They're doing cowboy boots. And it is about the tug and tug of her just not actually wanting to meet a guy, but also can't denying that she really met a guy that she likes. And she just wants to have a fling, but he falls first, head over heels for her. And the book is just about them trying to maneuver all of this. And then again, I'm warning you, it is an accidental pregnancy. If you don't like this, you probably won't like the book, but I really like how they handled it in here. And again, it is very much a cowboy romance, and I truly enjoyed it. If you like Lila Sage, if you like Elsie Silver, and you're looking for the next series to read, definitely recommend Jessica Peterson. These have been traditionally published as well. I have seen them both at Target and Barnes & Noble. Last book, and I did listen to this book because I actually bought this entire series on Audible because I wanted to read more of it, and this is the second book in the Murderbot series. So this is Artificial Conditions by Martha Wells, and this is the second book in the series. I did, like I said, buy this one on Audible when it was on sale, so I have all the series. And actually, my husband read the first book as well when we were traveling, and he really did enjoy it. So I am gonna let him maybe listen to the other ones if he wants as well, because the audiobooks are good and they're short and sweet. So this is definitely a shorter book. I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4-star. I actually liked the second book more than I liked the first book, because here, this is about a robot that hacks his mainframe so that he no longer has to take orders. He is like a guard robot, and he calls himself a murder bot because he sometimes gets ordered to murder or kill others to protect the ones that he's protecting. And he just doesn't like, you know, his path in life, so he hacks his mainframe. All he wants to do is just watch soap operas or like different TV series and like read books and listen to music. He doesn't want to be. And in the second book, he is now a free agent. He is no longer following anyone, and now he's trying to get to the bottom of himself. And also, he had a malfunction some years ago that I talk about in the first book, and in the second book he's trying to get to the bottom of what was this malfunction about. I feel like the second book, I liked it even more because here he really comes to talk about like, what is it to be human? What sets a human apart, and what is it really to be a human, and how can you tell that someone is a human? And they really start talking about these different things, and about trust, and about just being a human, and start thinking about like feelings and just guilt and stuff like that, and feeling like you owe someone something. And I really like this book, and I'm very excited to read the third one as well, or maybe listen to it because I have it on Audible. Because again, I think the murder bot, he calls himself a murder bot, is really, again, starting to think about like, if I am not a robot, what am I? If I'm trying to be passed off as a human, what is it to be human? And I think that this is like really like true AI, where they start reevaluating themselves and just, again, thinking like a human. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great book, and those were the 7 books that I read in January. Again, not a big reading month, but I really did enjoy all the books. I gave all of them a 4-star or a 4.5 star. I really had a great reading month, even though it wasn't as many books as I normally read, but it doesn't mean that I didn't enjoy the books that I did read. And hopefully, fingers crossed, I will enjoy the books that I read in February as well, and I'll come back and tell you how I felt about them. I don't know if February will be a month that I read more books than this, because again, this year is starting out, I was gonna say with a bang, but maybe with a crash. But I definitely think come March, I will probably be reading even more, but hoping at least I will get to 7 books in February, because I have so many great books here at home that I want to get to. And I sat down and I looked at my bookshelves yesterday, and I was like, oh, there's so many books here that I'm looking forward to reading. And the 5 books that I picked this month for my TBR jar, I'm so looking forward to reading all of them. So yeah, I cannot wait to get back to you and let you know how I felt about those. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave if you want to see more book content, if you want to see more vlogs. Like I said, I just put a vlog up, and I will see you soon again in a new video.